I'm going to tell you guys the story about the boys in the junior high, and this is part 2 for World War II. So it's the Allied powers versus the Axis powers. All right, Dave, Germany, Doug, Hungary, and Dwight, Austria, wait for Brian, Russia, Bob, France, Bill, Britain, and Ben to leave school. Dave spots the 4 boys walking home and follows them. Dave's group finally cut off Brian's group and won't allow them to walk any further. Dave informs Brian's group that it's payback time for Dwight getting hit in the head with the rock, which is to symbolize the Austrian Archduke getting assassinated by the Serbian. Dave stares down Ben and slowly starts to reach for his knife. But just as Dave reaches for it, Bill quickly pulls out the gun he has secretly been carrying and points it at Dave's face. Shocked, Dave stands up straight, looking down the barrel of Bill's gun. In addition, 2 of Bill's best friends from another school district, Blake and Brock, Blake is the USA, Brock is Italy, come up behind Doug and Dwight and put a gun to the back of their heads. Bill tells Dave to hand over the knife or they will be shot. Panicked, Dave hands the knife over. While Bill and Blake and Brock continue to point their guns at Dave's group, Brian, Bob, and Ben put on their brass knuckles. They inform Dave, Doug, and Dwight that they will let them go if they agree to some demands, including Dave is to quit the football team because Brian and Bob are tired of him as a teammate, to stop threatening them and bullying them in the hallways and in the cafeteria, to stop bringing any weapons to school, and that Dave, Doug, and Dwight are to give Brian, Bob, and Bill and Ben their lunch money each morning before school to pay them back for any damages to their lockers and other property, for the expense they incurred buying weapons to defend themselves, and for general pain and suffering the B-Boys experienced. So this represents the Treaty of Versailles. Dave, Doug, and Dwight, afraid for their lives, agree to the demands. Satisfied, Brian, Bob, Bill, Ben, Blake, and Brock let the boys go and walk home feeling successful in their triumph. In the weeks that follow, the student body learns of the incident. Dave, Doug, and Dwight, who always flaunted themselves as tough dudes not to mess with, are now being teased and mocked because they back down to Brian's group. Dave's group's hatred of Brian's group is stronger than ever. The school year ends without incident, but with a great deal of tension still remaining for the boys. Over the summer, Dave, Doug, and Dwight decide the fight is not over. They aren't going to take being mocked anymore. The boys plot how they are going to get even with the B-Boys to restore their tough reputation. In addition, Dave's best friend from his old school district, Dale, who represents Japan, decides to transfer to Smithfield Junior High. Dale is as strong and as athletic as Dave, and just as intimidating. With the addition of Dale to the group, Dave, Doug, and Dwight have the new spark they need to reestablish themselves as the school's most intimidating and popular figures. Just before the school year starts, Brian and Bob are surprised to see Dave show up at football tryouts. This time, Dave has brought a new friend with him, Dale. The 2 of them make quite a pair and are as cocky as ever. Brian and Bob realize that Dave has obviously ignored the demands he agreed to a few months earlier. So this is an example of Hitler breaking the Treaty of Versailles. Brian and Bob had heard rumors that Dave had been planning retaliation, and that Dave was not just planning revenge on Brian's group, but on anyone that he decided he did not like. The boys now realize those rumors might actually be true. To be continued.